Rare Atom shouldn't be too hard on themselves if they do end up losing out in this series, but they want to show some good stuff. They want to show what they can do. And immediately, on the red side here, they're just focusing on Knight. Get rid of the Syndra, get rid of the Akali. We'll see what their third ban will be. I wouldn't be too surprised to see if it's Zoe here. On the other side for Top Esports, banning the Samira from iBoy. iBoy's been playing a lot of Samira, played it a ton in Demacia Cup. The Olaf being removed as well as the Nidalee. And we'll see now if Rare Atom do choose to go for the 3 bans on towards Knight in the mid lane. You could also ban something like the Pantheon, which we've seen Castle's more than willing to play. It's something that you can easily first pick. It is going to be the Pantheon in the end that is taken away by Rare Atom. Top Esports here, I mean, Kai'Sa is pretty much the obvious answer, but it is the Zoe. We get the Zoe for Knight. So easy blind pick in the mid lane.
Denial.
Great matchups across the board. You get priority in a lot of matchups as well. So I actually really like this first pick. Kai'Sa is open though, so you would expect iBoy to pick up the Kai'Sa here. And you could probably go for a jungler. Or perhaps you just go for your support and just try and get a solid duo. You could go for Leona.
Yeah, we'll see what they want to lock in. The Kai'Sa obviously going to be the next obvious choice. I like the Zoe a lot, though, for the side of Knight. Not only is Knight's Zoe famous throughout the lands, but also a massive denial away from Fofo. So Fofo is another... I feel like Zoe's kind of the thing you play in LPL because all the best mid laners tend to lean towards this champion. I can't ever think why, you know, hint, hint, the W hint. But overall, like, you're still getting a huge powerhouse in the mid lane, great pick potential as well. However, you are giving over a Kai'Sa and a Lilia over to the side of Rare Atom. Lilia does indicate to me that they want to get Cube and maybe even Fofo onto something that has that early aggression.
It's going to be Jackula picking up the Xayah as well, though. So maybe I was wrong earlier. Maybe this is something that will creep further and further into the meta. I would not be averse to seeing the Rakan alongside it. Obviously, you get the Xayah Rakan combo, but you also get Joe on an aggressive, hard-engaged champion. Looks like he's going to opt into the Leona in the end. It's not too surprising. Rakan does struggle sometimes into champions like the Leona that can lock him down and stop him being able to just run around the fight as he wants. So perhaps thinking better of just going for the Xayah Rakan and going for Rakan's counter instead. That still offers a similar vibe in the bottom lane.
Yeah, you're taking up the Leona. I like that from the side of Top Esports. You're basically saying if we can just get on top of either your Kai'Sa or maybe even your Lilia, we can just 100-0 them, no problem whatsoever. And there's already that built-in safety with the Xayah, obviously with her Feathers Fly in the ultimate. So she's got a bit of a kit to be able to set her up. But again, like we say, these hyper-scaling AD carries tend to not do great if they get put behind. So be curious to see how that bot lane ends up going out. But set locked in for the side of Rare Atom. Probably going into the hands of Ham.
Yeah, you'd expect the set to be going towards that bottom lane. So we have our bot duos locked in. We've got a mid laner on the side of Top Esports and a jungler on this side of Rare Atom. So with a Gnar ban, trying to remove some blind picks by the looks of things from Top Esports. You could maybe even ban the Renekton if you wanted to as well, away from Cube. Or I guess the Ornn actually would be a better ban to try and ban the blind picks on top side here. For Rare Atom, you could ban another jungler, perhaps something like the Graves. You could even ban the Sejuani, honestly, with how good Castle looked on it last game. Yeah, just remove this hard engage, remove the ways that he can just force things. Bear in mind, that Jarvan was banned last time around. We don't know if that's something from scrims, but maybe Castle could go towards something like the Jarvan. Similar vibe to what the Sejuani brings to the table. It's actually going to be Jace banned away. Another good blind pick top lane, but something like Ornn, something like Renekton would be fine as a blind pick here as well.
All the bans now out. We got the final 4 picks.
So they are.
Yes.
Right. I was just thinking to myself, you can go for the Renekton here, just go for the blind pick top lane, but you don't have to, right? You could just go for your mid laner. You already know you're against Zoe. Why are you blind picking your top lane? Just pick what you want in the mid lane and then get your counter pick for the top side. I think there was a...
I imagine they wanted to try and go for the Renekton themselves rather than giving it over to someone like 369 who had a very, very strong game on it. They don't want to have to... They realize the counter pick isn't working for them. The cannon was fine, but it didn't do a lot for them. So I feel like getting the Renekton on their side, definitely a lot stronger for the side of Rare Atom rather than just giving it away. And you can see now they're actually going towards the Ornn Horn. Ornn Boy in the top side for 369, and we'll see how he fares on that one. But the priority should be with Cube.
Yeah, honestly, I actually would have rather, if I'm Rare Atom right now, knowing Cube, I would actually have rather had the Ornn than the Renekton personally. And I'd rather just pick the mid lane there. But, that's neither here nor there. Orianna would be fine here. That would be exciting if we saw the Yone. Orianna would be the pick that I would expect.
Yeah, we can't.
Because it's in. Never mind. All
yes.
Right,
Here we go. Sit up. Let's go. Finally, I get to see Yone into the mid lane for Fofo. We've seen it kind of hinted at, picked and banned and everything like that, but I am excited for this, and it works fine with the damage profile they have because they picked the Lilia so early.
Yeah, and when they went for the Lilia, I was thinking they could go for AD solo lanes, but with the Renekton, plus you've got iBoy on Kai'Sa, I was like, Orianna would be fine. I'm excited for this Yone. I'm not going to pretend I know every single Yone matchup. I'm not a mid laner, and I'm a play-by-play, so give me a bit of leeway here, guys. I'm not going to try and talk through how that mid lane matchup works, but I will tell you that I am damn excited to see what Fofo could do on the pick.
I am very, very excited to see what he can do with this, and of course, you've got Fate Seal to be able to kind of go in on top of people. You've, of course, got the Soul Unbound. That's going to be the two big abilities that we're going to be looking out for on this guy, because realistically, yes, you can go in, but you need to be able to keep yourself safe. And having that extra safety is huge for the side of Rare Atom, because it means that they can focus their safety, or, kind of their resources to keeping iBoy safe if they do ever get caught out. They know the Yone should be totally fine, has plenty of ways of getting in and out of fights himself, doesn't need that much setup. So honestly, I am so excited to see this one here. And we can see he's going with the fleet footwork because he knows he's probably going to be harassed in the early game.
Yeah, bit of extra sustain for the lane. I'm also really excited to see Karsa's Lee Sin. We all know how great Karsa is on Lee Sin. Like, this is vintage right here out from Karsa, so excited to see that. That mid lane 2v2 with Lee Sin alongside Zoe against a Lilia and a Yone. All right, I defer to the Gyos. The mid lane 2v2
always go
though,
first.
definitely I would say in favor of top esports, with Lilia not really being the best at the very early skirmishes. However, when you start to get some items going on this Yone, especially once you hit level 6, I'm pretty sure if Knight mispositions, Fofo can pretty much 100 to 0 him. So definitely going to be keeping our eyes on that mid lane a little bit later on. When you look across the board as well for Rare Atom, they spike exceptionally hard on one item. Like when you see Kai'Sa get the Gale Force, when you see Yone get literally any item whatsoever, he can build what he likes, it doesn't matter. He's going to just one-shot people. Lilia as well takes a bit of time to get into the game, but once you start to get some items, you can really impact the game. We could have a 2v2 here. Okay, they're just gonna tease each other.
They spotted it out. They saw what was happening. Yeah, like, Yone obviously builds towards that crit, has got that passive that increases his damage or his crit chance when he has crit with it as well. It was changed very recently so that the items now give you 100% crit if you get 2 items, which was the old school Yasuo power spike, which kind of changed with the item rework. Now they have brought that back, so you just need 2 items, 2 crit items basically, a Zeal item and an IE to get that full crit. Overall, still very, very powerful at the 1 item mark. You still want to be seeing him with 2 items, and that's when he's going to be starting to really make his presence known around the map.
Yeah, and I want to quickly talk through the compositions here and how I expect them to function. Now, on the side of top esports, you have a reasonable amount of range here with the Zoe and the Xayah. You can play from a distance quite comfortably, especially if Knight gets ahead. One of the big things that you should expect during the team fights is when you look at things like the Yone, the Kai'Sa, Set, Renekton, these guys want to dive in. This is all about try and get on top of Jackalope, try and get on top of Knight, dive the carries and win the team fight that way. But when you look at the carries that top esports have brought to the table, they're actually exceptionally good at surviving those kinds of fights. Like the Xayah is perfect for those kinds of fights. You have the Featherstorm to keep yourself alive, and Knight wants to be kiting away if he can. He wants to be just trying to zip around the fight, trying to get some trouble bubbles and fight from range. He doesn't really want to be in the thick of it. So for top esports, it's going to be all about the other 3 players on the team trying to set these carriers up. And also, Knight, Duo, and Karsa looking for picks before fights ever start. If they can set up on objectives and win the fight before the 5v5 ever occurs, that's the ideal scenario for top.
Hung and Fofo trying to help out Ikes here, but Karsa is in the river. Knight has joined him as well, so definitely a difficult time to be a Lilia. You are fast, but you are definitely not that healthy in the early game. You're very, very squish. And it means that Karsa does probably get himself a double scuttle start. And just keeps himself and the rest of his team in good station around the lanes.
Yeah, I mean, as Lilia, you don't get to contest the Scuttle Crabs against the Lee Sin. You do not win that early skirmish. Ike's is going to find an answer elsewhere as he moves towards this bottom side. But
they're backing
good respect
away.
for top esports.
Yeah, they realize they might have been a little bit overextended. A full recall goes back, so they should be in decent form, even if they do get themselves pushed forward a little bit, but they are just going to try and reset as the wave is being held at that point of the tower. But overall, decent, kind of scouting from both junglers. They're both keeping Ikes and Karsa both making sure that both junglers being kept honest. As I said, 369, he's on the wrong side of this. He has to dash away, flash for flash. 369 being chased down by Cube. This is probably why you want to pick the Renekton into the Ornn. You get such early DPS and such early pressure.
Yeah, definitely a Renekton favored matchup, at least until Ornn starts to stack up that armor a little too much, and then Renekton starts to lose his effectiveness in the 1v1. Nicely played, though, by 369 to survive that one, honestly. The Flash was, like, waiting as long as he could, taking a creative route towards the enemy tower and then around. Ikes wants to make a gank happen, but he's on a ward, so I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, just has to back himself away. He realizes that 369 is playing as defensive as physically possible. The wave is pushing into him now. It has got an extra little caster minion, so he should be able to pick up a lot of this farm. And again, overall, slow start, kind of indicative to the meta right now, where some of those risks of outplaying someone just aren't worth it, because like we said, you get to that mythic first, you're probably going to snowball from there.
Yeah, it's certainly if they can find fights at that point, that would be the ideal. Hung trying to gank his own lane right here. iBoy is waiting in the wings. Hung should be able to find a good face breaker.
Yeah, gets it, but nothing really else they can go for it as they only catch on to the Leona. Just kind of trading health bars a little bit.
I've fallen into the habit of play-by-playing there.
I know.
I didn't stop talking.
Dude, it's totally
I'm not
fine.
used to this, okay?
Yeah. We'll make it through it, all right? We'll get there eventually, but I will accept if you want to do a bit of play-by-play if you miss it, man. Don't worry about it.
It's all good. There are enough games in the LPL that I'm not going to worry about not getting enough,
It's true. We are covering 7 each year. We are covering 7 games.
Yeah, now we're 7 days a week as well.
Yeah. Oh, as I say that, though, talking about getting a bit of play-by-play, great route there from Jackilo to stop iBoy and Hong. Ikes was just too far up the lane, couldn't really make anything else happen. Keeps himself alive, and they're going to start backing away now, but are they allowed to get back away? The Xenoblade does not hit, but they do cancel the recalls, and a little bit greedy of a recall position there from Rare Adam. They need to be a little bit more respectful, and that almost certainly means that the Dragon, first one of the game, is going over to top esports.
Yeah, should do. I think Karsa can just do this regardless. Cube going to be on the top side. In fact, I think they don't go for this right now because iBoy and Hung have already reset. Jackilov needs to reset so that he can continue to lane. He needed to buy items. So I think Karsa realizing that he's not going to have any backup on this one.
Fofo's in trouble. He's going to use the ultimate just to get himself out alive, though. Very nicely done there. And that is why, the Fate Sealed is so powerful. It can get you out of situations like that.
Yeah, nicely done there by Fofo to get himself out. And the paddle star was on cooldown, so there wasn't much follow-up to the sleep regardless. But nice bit of pressure coming out from Karsa, trying to put some hurt onto Fofo. If they can get this Yone behind, it gets real easy. But here we go, Karsa making moves.
Speaking of behind, iBoy finds himself in front of Karsa, who picks up first blood on his signature Lee Sin.
You love to see it. Karsa just ward hops over the wall, catches iBoy with his pants down, and it means that Jackilov not only is able to get the assist, but he's also able to get himself some tower plays. Karsa can now reset, move up towards the top side to stop Ikes doing anything, as Hung wants to make a play on Knight.
He wants to make a play on Knight, but he has to flash himself away. Knight perfectly positioned. Knight not really got a huge amount of mana in his pool right now, but is feeling pretty damn good on this Zoe, and this is why we said it. So Knight on Zoe, this guy is known for making things happen on this champion.
Yeah, beautiful flash coming out from him. Goes in a different angle to what Hung was expecting, so he dodges the face breaker, and it means he's able to get out very comfortably. And this is why we love to watch Knight on Zoe. He is so damn good on this champion. And Zoe, incredibly frustrating to play against when they're good, because the use of Nimbus Cloak can be so important, and you can see it there in a 2 versus 3. He's able to escape basically unscathed.
Well, Fofo roaming up towards this top side, making sure that the honey fruits have been taken. Lee Sin onto the dragon. Oh, no, sorry, that's dragon. Excuse me, the blue buff, which I imagine he will be handing over to Knight. iBoy trying to see if he can get any other information onto where everyone on the side of Top Esports has gone. But overall, still pretty damn slow and steady for Top Esports. They actually, as I say that though, iBoy with a flash available, being 1v1'd. Joe makes it a 2v1. They all back away. So equal trade of damage pretty much on the AD carries.
Oh, hang on. Carson may have overstayed for this one. Cube moves down. I'm play-by-play, and you go.
No, he's got it. You got it. You got it. It's all good.
It's because it's when you're talking as a fight starts, my brain is like, okay, his turn to stop, my turn to start. That's like the way that it works in my head.
That's how your brain has decided it to be. But like I said, Carson doesn't get caught out. He gets himself back away, and the Rift Herald going to be started up here. Bit of a risky one to start, though. Knight is thinking about going over towards it, but they're just going to trade objectives.
Yeah, Ike's has priority on the top side because of this Renekton, and because of all of the shenanigans, it means Fofo is able to equalize at least in the mid lane, so Ike can quite happily take this one. Carson acknowledges it, moves down, and will trade with the dragon here. Which is a very, I would say this is a very advantageous trade for Top Esports, honestly, because when you consider the fact that Rare Atom are going to spike incredibly hard on that first item. In fact, I would say it's a reasonable spike on the side of Top Esports, certainly on the Zoe. But when you're looking at the Xayah, realistically, you want 3 items. So taking an early dragon means that Rare Atom can't just stack those dragons over the next few minutes when they get strong. And so you're delaying a potential win condition.
Oh, here we go. We're going to see Young going in with the Lilia. They're going to drop down as much damage as they can. Ice pops down the sleep, but it's not enough. There's no damage. And that was an unfortunate situation for Rare Atom. They burn everything. They gain nothing.
You could see Knight giggling away on the player cam as well. He knows that he should be dead, realistically. Here we go, bot lane, though.
Oh, iBoy caught by the solar flare just by the edge of it, has to cleanse and use the killer instinct to keep himself alive. Big wins in the bot side here as Jackalove and Zhou keep themselves on top of this 2v2.
Yeah, iBoy surviving, and actually, to be fair to him, iBoy, even though he's been engaged upon quite a lot of times, has only died once this game. He's actually been doing a really good job to survive all of the pressure that's been thrown at him, because let's not beat around the bush. Top Esports are really trying to put the pressure on the bottom side of the map so far in this game. So well played by iBoy to survive yet again. But yeah, Knight in the mid lane there, by all rights, should have died. A single auto from either Fofo or Ike's would have finished that kill off, which I feel like Ike should have just pulled the trigger on the sleep as soon as he got his first Q in, instead of just waiting.
I love what Hong did there. He made sure that Jackie Love had to back away from the turret. Jackie Love had not auto-attacked the turret, so therefore did not pick up the plate gold. Just nice little bits there, recognizing that you're not just getting this for free, buddy. You gotta either risk something or you gotta work for something here. And you can see now with Zhou pushing in towards this bot side and Karsa, they have full pressure here, and they're gonna be able to push this one up. While that's happening, Rift Herald dropped into the top side.
Yeah, so this is a good response from Top Esports. They know that Ike's basically has to drop Herald top.
Oh, TP is coming in, though. That's the Renekton joining this fight, but has been stopped by the Ornhorn. So it is still a 3v2 in this bot side. Mid lane is going head-to-head as well. You can see them on your minimap. As a flash in, center Blade flies. And that is going to be an easy pickup. Jackie Love does have to use his flash to make sure he doesn't tank any more turret. But overall, they're going to be able to take this turret, take all the plates, and the extra kill gold.
Yeah, so nicely done here by Top Esports to grab themselves a kill. I don't think they'll finish the turret, though. So Rare Atom do still get the play with the Herald to work out. Sleep in the mid lane.
VOD does not take a favorable trade there, as Knight is still able to chuck out Zoe things, but it looks like they're trying to go for the dive here. Cube has got the dominance. He pops it immediately. Knight has got flash. It gets himself out straight away. They will not lose a kill today, and they'll just lose a couple of plates in mid lane.
So flash on cooldown again, though, importantly. So Knight is a little bit vulnerable if they do want to continue to force that. Great interrupt on the teleport from Cube there. If Cube could have teleported, that actually would have completely turned the play around. That would have been a massively advantageous trade in favor of Rare Atom. But they still do get the first tower of the game. They still do get to use that Herald effectively. Now, the reason I was talking about Top Esports going bot to answer is because when you look at the mid lane and the bot lane, Top Esports have priority in both of those lanes. It becomes incredibly difficult for Rare Atom to find an opportunity to use the Herald in those lanes. So the easy answer there is drop the Herald top lane, try and force the tower down there because you already have priority. So Top Esports intelligently go for a dive on the bottom side of the map to make sure that they are trading in that situation and not just losing out.
See, the plates pretty much in favor of Cube. Got himself 5 in that top side, so spread across him and his jungler. So able to get himself a nice little bit of an advantage over the Ornn, and as we said, the Renekton should naturally have that kind of a prowess over the Ornn. Just very easy for him to put down his early damage. But now we're starting to come up to the next dragon. 30 seconds until that spawns. Gale Forces for both the AD carries. A Gore Drinker for Cube, which is very, very big. And you can see Fofo building towards his mythic as well. Looks like he's going to go for the Immortal Shield Bow on his end. So overall, everyone's starting to pick up these big one-item power spikes. So we might see a big fight in 20 seconds.
Yeah, very much so. With the Drake coming up, you expect Rare Atom to be the ones to try and force the issue on this one. Obviously, Top Esports got the first Drake of the game. But Fofo not really in a position to move over. Castle's already here. Maybe Top Esports can grab this because iBoy, oh no,
should be all right. Yeah, he should be all right. He doesn't commit to it. And I like this, tempered attitude from Karsa, the guy who was just, able to keep himself safe. But the Hex Splash from from Hong, excuse me, as I say that, he jumps straight in, but he's not really able to get anything done with that. TP is going to be committed there by Ornn. 369 is here, has the Ornn Horn available to him should he want to use it. There is the engage, though, from Leona, who's able to jump in, jump back out. Leona is dead. The Xayah is down, as is the Lee Sin. It's a 3-for-1. iBoy trying to keep himself alive. He should be able to stay alive as well. Great engage from Rare Atom, and that is exactly why we say that this Yone pick is so exciting.
Yeah, beautifully done here from the side of Rare Atom. They're going to win out the fight. We talked about their composition being particularly strong right now. Knight just trying to batter off Cube as he moves away. Unfortunately, health bar's exceptionally low, and Ike's died. So whether or not they can actually just start the Drake, I'm not sure. Looks like iBoy has thrown a W over there. They are going to commit to this one as Fofo can tank it. And it doesn't look like Knight is even going to try and steal or anything like that. So, Rare Atom do get the Drake, and deservedly so after that fight.
Yeah, great Fate Sealed really did set up that whole fight right there, just knocking up multiple members of the side of Top Esports. And for them, it's definitely a positive from the side of Rare Atom, because that's something we didn't really see in that last game. They definitely feel a lot more comfortable in this one.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice bit of coordination coming out from them. Great team fighting, and as soon as they saw the TP, you watch them collapse. I'd love to see a replay of that fight, whether we get that. I'd certainly hope so. Is Dracula just going to shove in the mid wave here? Looks like Top Esports leaning towards this top side here. You can see Draw in the river there. Wasn't sure if they were going to try and start to make a play up towards where Fofo is.
Now with single items picked up, you can see it there. Gore Drinker, Leandri's Anguish, the Immortal Shield Bowl, and the Gale Force means that Rare Atom had a very, very powerful part of this early game. They've stopped the Dragon stacking as well from Top Esports. Rift Herald seems to be the next port of call, and for the side of Top Esports, you're kind of looking for Karsa to make a big, big play with the Dragon's Kick.
Yep, that Dragon Rage is such an impactful ability if Karsa can find it, and we've seen him do it many, many, many times. But as of right now, you feel like Rare Atom can contest this.
See if they want to go for it. The Ornn Horn has been used to try and keep everyone away, but Hong flashes in and uses the Showstopper to start the fight, but he is by himself, no support. So it's a 4v5 as the Rift Herald does fall. Have to be very careful, High Boy. You've got Sleepy Trouble Bubble all over you. And they back themselves all the way back to their turret. They lose the Rift Herald, they lose mid lane Prio, and they lose Hong.
Yeah, this will be Herald down in the mid lane as well. We'll be able to just finish this tower off very easily. And top esports, with 2 towers down now, it's only the top tier 1 remaining, but they've got enough control that they can start to play a bit more of a tempo game, start to get some vision in the enemy jungle, and try and start to pick people off. This is where Zoe really comes into her own.
You can see here, this is just a full disengage from the side of top esports. It's just to separate everyone out, and then Hong sees the idea, but nobody else can follow up on him.
Yeah, so this is a bit weird from Fofo. You see him way over at the top. He was waiting on the blast cone behind Herald. I think he was expecting the fight to move upwards so he could get the flank in, get the massive ult off, and win the game. Unfortunately, it's not the way the fight went, and it meant that Fofo just wasn't a part of the play at all. And realistically, the way that this team fight is going to operate for Rare Atom is Hung goes in, like he did, and if Fofo's there to go in at the same time, get his ult off across the whole team, you have infinite CC there, you have a ton of damage, and iBoy can just ult in and finish people off. Perfect, right? Sounds amazing. But if Fofo's not in the right position, if it can't quite coordinate, it will fall apart very quickly. And like we said, top esports, their composition loves for you to go into them, loves to be the ones responding to the engage.
And again, top esports find themselves at a pretty even footing. This early game hasn't been as explosive as the last one. They have not gotten Jackie Love to a unkillable bit, but I gotta give props to Rare Atom. Rare Atom have looked solid in keeping tabs on what top esports have wanted to do.
Yeah, very even start, honestly. When you look at the gold, it's pretty much dead even. And let's just remember that obviously top esports are a favorite of the entire tournament, not just this series. Like, you should expect top esports to look good today. Even with their first 2 losses, that shouldn't be indicative of your expectations of this team for the whole season. Rare Atom, on the other hand, Vici didn't... Hang on, do we have a fight? I think they're just going to back away here. There is nothing to fight over. So, I guess Drake's up in 50 seconds. But Rare Atom, last year, really didn't look so hot. It was like almost good. Each year has been almost good for Vici. Now they've rebranded to Rare Atom. This is their debut series here. Looking good against top esports is a fantastic way to start the season. If they can win even just 1 game in this series, it's going to be a really, really positive start to the year for them.
Big ifs, but again, I completely agree. It has to be a win here. At least 1 game from Rare Atom. And again, losing to top esports, yes, they've lost 2 series in a row at the moment, but they are still, unless we see some seriously bad, calls or plays from the players individually, it still feels like they are one of our top 4, if not top 6 teams in the league. And it's for stuff like this. This is why we regard them as one of our top 6 teams, because they can just make something out of nothing and just an instant advantage.
Yeah, there's a Zoe copy pasta that I believe is appropriate in this kind of scenario, because Hung just got completely one-shot. Absolutely nothing he could do about that one. This is going to be Drake now for top esports. That's 2 on the board. And any kind of conversation of Rare Atom being able to spike early and snowball off of Drake's has completely gone out of the window off the back of all of this. Now on 2 items. And we have to start to talk about which team is going to look better later on. And you have to start to think that top esports might be the answer to that question. You've got an Ornn on your side, so fantastic front line and fantastic consistent hard engage for the team fights, especially alongside a Leona. You have a Lee Sin that can just play keep away for Knight and Jackie Love, and you have Knight and Jackie Love on 2 carries that scale exceptionally well into the late game. I really like the composition top esports have if we're in just the straight up 5v5 around objectives, and especially if they're the ones to set up on the play. So far, that's generally been the case.
The issue, I suppose, you see with the likes of Yone or maybe even Yasuo and stuff like that, you're kind of relegated to the side lane. Your entire presence, yes, you've one big wombo combo ultimate, but you want the 1v1. You want the isolated matchup because that is where you are strongest. And overall, that doesn't really fit into what the meta is right now. The meta is very centric around those dragon fights, very, very much centered around how you perform as a team. As we can see, Cube feeling like he might be able to take down that turret, but respecting 369's tankiness and also pseudo damage from the Sunfire Cape, or Sunfire Aegis, excuse me. Still getting used to the new names. And yeah, overall, I feel like Top Esports, they can take this one slow. They don't need to do anything. I feel like with the Orin on their side, the Zoe, I feel like the scaling is very much not super far, but definitely in favor of Top Esports.
Yeah, I do just want to clarify that it's not like Rare Atom don't have scaling on their side. The problem with Rare Atom is that this Renekton obviously will fall off a lot towards the later stages of the game. They have exceptional scaling on the Kai'Sa and on the Yone. Also, Lilia does quite well in the late stages of the game. It's just that the team fight from Top Esports is a lot just simpler, where it's just like all, Leona goes in. Speaking of,
oh my god! Tries to go for the engage, it just gets deleted, but a two-man sleep with Cube on the backside pops the dominance, but again, he is very, very alone with nowhere to run, no support to have him, and he has to back himself away. Slice and Dice is in. Cube with the Stair-X is not able to stay alive. Oh, that's not as Sonya as you want to be taken right there if you're on Ike's. That is something that just left you up to be killed straight away, and that is going to be the Baron, almost certainly for Top Esports. No jungler on the side of RA means they cannot contest.
Yeah, this is going to be Baron, and I think that might be the play that really starts to put this in favor of Top Esports. It's been fairly even up to this point, but when you consider what Top Esports should be able to get off the back of a Baron, like with a Zoe, Baron becomes incredibly oppressive. Once again, Jackie Love is like, oh, we've won a fight recently. Time to go for their red buff. This is just what Jackie Love does every single game. We'll be able to get it though. It's traded, because in the meantime, it looks like iBoy went and got the enemy red buff.
Just a trade of red buffs, a gentleman's handshake as such. But let's see how this fight kind of happens out, because Hong again just kind of goes in with no one really supporting him.
Yeah, so I think Hung was actually sort of caught out there. It was Chuo that starts the fight, and Hung's like, okay, I'm gonna die. Let's see if I can at least get a face breaker off on the team before I go down. He actually died midair, and then obviously Cube's already TP'd. He's kind of up the creek without a paddle. And then the sleep comes through, so Ike's just Zonya's just to pray. He has the Zonya's, he might as well press it in that situation, right?
Yep,
it's like
an ability you can use.
Yeah. I don't think there's
add to the stats.
It feels like with that kind of situation, if you're Rare Atom, when Hung goes in, you kind of just go, okay, he's doomed, everyone run. Like, they tried to salvage the situation, but what they ended up doing was just losing more members and then giving over the Baron.
Yeah, it definitely felt like they kind of overcommitted as Fofo forced to flash Jackie Love with the Gale Force. You can see just how powerful this item can be, just cutting that distance, making someone have to use their flash and their summoners. Just opens up so many avenues for you.
There's Trouble Bubble goes through to iBoy there, but they'll walk away fine.
Oh, there he is. Karsa finds his mark, and they're going to try and catch out Ike's and iBoy. Fofo onto the backside does force the feathers to fly, trying to use that sealed fate, but he's just not got the damage, he's not got the range, just hasn't got the items, and he will fall. It's a 3-0 in favor of Top Esports, and Rare Atom are heading for the hills. They need to keep backing away, but I don't even think they'll be allowed to live.
Yeah, this is maybe just over right now, honestly. 30-second death timer on Fofo still. Mid inhib goes down. They've not got many minions to work with, but maybe enough. Let's see what they're going to go for. Two
cannons and a lot of Zoe damage, but they don't want to jinx it. They know how these games have gone before. They want to just back away, make sure they, as we always say this, cross your T's, dot your I's, get yourself as much of as possible of a win that you can.
If you're a Top Esports fan at home, you take that. Them respecting and backing off is a good thing. This is growth for them. You see Ike's getting in, trying to get sleeps down, but it's just not doable. And iBoy gets chased out of the fight by Karsa, as you say. Fofo comes in, he's a little bit late. The fight's kind of already over by the time Fofo is able to get in and get his ult off, and then obviously everyone can just turn on him. Again, bit disjointed, very far behind at this point for Rare Atom off the back of that fight now, and with the Baron in pocket, this will be a third Drake as well. The advantages are really starting to stack up for Top Esports, and Rare Atom, I mean, I don't even know what the win condition is.
You need a mistake. You need mistakes right now. You need Top Esports to start throwing fight, or Jackie Love getting caught out by iBoy and Fofo, or whatever whatever you need mistakes, because right now, if the game keeps going in this trajectory that it is going right now, we can see that it's just going to be Top Esports coming out on top, just because they're so far ahead. They've stacked the gold, they stacked the dragons, and Jackie Love sitting on 3.5 items. One of those items being a QSS means he is just so difficult just to lock down.
Yeah, it's the more games I see, the more I'm starting to like this Xayah, because with the way the game is right now, you can get to the late game very, very fast. Like, we're not even 30 minutes in. Like, carries across the board have 3 items, and this hasn't been a particularly snowbally game. Like, when you're in snowbally games as well.
Oh my god.
Jackie.
And he still gets the blade caller, so he has got the feathers to come back and collect that kill. We're now into a 4v5. Dominus has already been popped as well by Cube, so he's going to lose that buff of extra HP, extra AoE damage, and just extra rage in general. iBoy trying to put down a little bit of damage onto 369. He gets tagged a little bit by the solar flare, has to flash away from the Orn Horn as the trouble bubble comes out, and Hong is disappeared. It's a magic trick. Knight isn't a knight, he's a magician. Watch as this support disappears. He's just going to keep throwing in a lot of those full paddle stars to keep everything going. There's just no damage for you here, guys. I'm so sorry you can't do anything to keep Top Esports from taking your Nexus turret, from taking your lives, from taking this series. And it took a little longer than we anticipated, but Top Esports finally get the W.
Top Esports finally back on top. It feels good to see them playing at this caliber. And even in these fights, it doesn't necessarily feel like this is top pushed to their limits. It still feels like they're taking it fairly easy, but at least they're not overextending. Like, the recall, when they push in, they actually use the Baron recalls. They actually reset after the first inhib and then go into end the game afterwards once they got some supers. Like, I like that this is a slightly more tempered version of Top Esports. Maybe not the safest team in the world still. Maybe not the, the most by-the-book team. But I'm okay with that. This is the LPL. I want them to be aggressive. I want them to do cool stuff. And Top Esports ticks all of these boxes. But now, respecting their opponents a little bit more and making sure it's just a bit cleaner and they can actually get those wins.
Yeah. And you look at their schedule now for the next few weeks, they've got some pretty big matches. They've got to play JDG, FBX. They also have LGD in there, which we have yet to really see what their power level is coming into this year. So a win here, you set your mark off, you fight. Realistically, a lot of people thought you'd be 3-0 or at least 2-1, but overall, you'll take this win. It was a clean 2-0, and